All right, let's talk about Argentina. You know, in Argentina, football isn't just a game. It's like a religion. But here's the thing. Right now, that religion is in some serious trouble. And I'm not talking about a bad call from a ref or one heated match. No, this is way bigger. It's like a perfect storm of crises all hitting at once, on the field, in the front offices, and even reaching the highest levels of government. The entire system is being shaken to its core.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? Football in Argentina is just woven into the fabric of the nation. It's this incredible source of pride, of unity. But lately, that same passion, that same stage, has turned into something else entirely. We're seeing open rebellion, wild international scandals, and some seriously high-stakes political games.
So where did this all start? Well, it kicked off with a single act of protest right there on the pitch. It seemed like a small gesture at first, you know? But man, it was the thing that ripped the curtain back and showed everyone the huge, complicated mess that had been simmering just under the surface.
Okay, so let's dive into part one, the protest on the pitch. Our story doesn't start in some stuffy boardroom or a courtroom. Nope, it begins right on the grass, where a silent protest ended up speaking volumes and sparking a huge national controversy.
So get this. This was absolutely not an accident. You know the pasillo, the honor guard? It's supposed to be this great moment of sportsmanship where you line up and applaud the champions. Well, the entire team from Estudiantes de La Plata deliberately, and I mean deliberately, turned their backs. It was a calculated, shocking snub to the new champs, Rosario Central, a huge statement that just sent shockwaves through the whole league.
And the language in the official referee's report? Oh, this is key. He didn't just say it was unsportsmanlike. No, the report described it as a direct incitement to violence. That phrase right there, that gave the Argentine Football Association, the AFA, all the ammo they needed to just bring the hammer down hard. And boy did they. The punishments came down fast, and they were called exemplary for a reason. We're talking a 2-match ban for 11 players, a big fine for the club, equal to about 4,000 tickets. The team captain? Banned from being captain for 3 months. But the biggest one? A 6-month ban from all football activities for the club president, the legend himself, Juan Sebastian Verón, who, by the way, later admitted he was the one who gave the order. The message from the AFA was crystal clear. We will not tolerate this. Okay, so while all that drama was playing out and grabbing all the headlines in Argentina, a completely different, almost unbelievable scandal was bubbling up. This one was uncovered by FIFA, and it stretched all the way across the globe. We're talking about a global deception.
Yeah, this is where the story gets really bizarre. It turns out that a bunch of Argentine players had managed to get themselves onto the Malaysian national team. How? By claiming they had Malaysian grandparents. The only problem, it was a total lie. The whole thing was built on forged documents.
I mean, look at how they did it. Take Imanol Machuca. His paperwork said his grandmother was born in Penang, Malaysia. But when FIFA dug into it, they found the real records. She was actually born in Santa Fe, Argentina. And it was the same story for Facundo Garcis and Rodrigo Holgado. All of them got slapped with a 1-year ban from all football activities.
And the price for this whole deception? Pretty steep. The Malaysian Football Federation got slammed with a fine of 350,000 Swiss francs. To put that in perspective for you, that's about 440,000 US dollars. So yeah, this wasn't just a couple of players bending the rules. This was a full-on federation-level scandal.
So, okay, we've got a crisis of sportsmanship on the pitch, right? And a crisis of integrity on the global stage. But believe it or not, the biggest storm was still brewing back home. This one was a massive money laundering probe, and it was aimed right at the very top.
This is where things escalated big time. We're talking federal authorities raiding the headquarters of the AFA. And not just them, but also major clubs like Racing and San Lorenzo. This wasn't just some routine audit, you know. This was a full-blown criminal investigation, with police serving warrants and seizing records.
So how did this all kick off? Well, it started pretty simply. Argentina's tax authority flagged some, let's say, suspicious activity. This led them to a financial company called Sir Finances, which they started investigating for fraud. And that investigation, it led them straight to the AFA and a bunch of major clubs.
And you might be asking, why were the feds so interested? Well, check out this number. The amount of alleged tax evasion they were looking into was just staggering. We're talking about 550 million US dollars.
A number that big doesn't just raise a few eyebrows. It triggers a massive federal investigation.
And here's the connection, the piece that ties this whole part of the story together. This company, Finanzas, it wasn't just some random firm. It was an official sponsor of the Football League, and it's owned by a guy who is reportedly a close associate of the AFA president, Claudio Tapia. So all of a sudden, this investigation starts to look a lot less like a random financial probe and a lot more like a direct shot at the top leadership.
Which brings us to the final piece of this puzzle, the political war. See, this whole money laundering investigation isn't just happening in a vacuum. No way. It's playing out right in the middle of a huge power struggle between the president of Argentina and the head of the AFA. And at the heart of this fight is a really fundamental disagreement about what a football club even is. On one side, you have President Javier Milei. His plan is to let clubs become for-profit corporations, open them up to big outside investors. But on the other side, you have the AFA. They're digging their heels in, insisting that clubs have to stay as nonprofit groups that belong to their members. It's a total clash of ideas, modern big business versus traditional community ownership. So when you see the government's tax agency kick off an investigation that leads to raids on the AFA, well, a lot of people see that as more than just a coincidence. It really looks like a strategic move by the government to put pressure on AFA President Claudio Tapia and weaken his standing in this massive fight over the future of football in the country. So let's step back and look at the whole picture. What does this all add up to? A protest on the pitch, a global fraud scheme, and a massive corruption probe that's all tangled up in politics. Are these just three separate stories, or are we seeing serious cracks appear in the very foundation of Argentinian football? I mean, think about it. We've got three layers of turmoil here. First, there's the on-pitch protest, a clear challenge to sporting authority. Then, you've got this international scandal, a total failure of integrity. And finally, a huge federal investigation into alleged corruption that goes right to the top of the sport's governance. It's a mess on every level. And here's the most important takeaway. These are not isolated incidents. They are all symptoms of a much deeper struggle. A struggle for control, for money, and for power in one of the greatest footballing nations on earth. The lines between sport, money, and politics have gotten so blurry, and this is the result. So, with all these crises happening at once, on the pitch, in the rulebooks, and in the boardroom, you have to ask, is Argentinian football facing a battle for its very soul? When the foundations of everything from fair play to financial honesty are all being shaken at the same time, it's more than just a scandal. It's a fight for the future of the game itself.